Are you so sick of seeing conflicting information about health and wellness and diet and nutrition and exercise, and honestly all you really want to do is be like a normal person who's healthy and active and like non-obsessive? Same. I'm Kelly and I've been through kind of a crazy health journey, and I am going to walk you through it in hopes that it helps you skip some of that and get right to the part where we're a normal healthy person who's not obsessive. Well, let's backtrack a little bit. Growing up, I was pretty healthy, never had any major issues, thank God. And so nothing of concern, nothing to really think about. But as I got older, I got into college. I went away to college for a little while. And when I came home after that first year, freshman 15 is an understatement, okay? And my mom recognized that and did her best to try and help me lose the weight. She wasn't like insulting or weird or anything like that, but she did suggest the South Beach diet. Now this was in 2006, so I guess people were still doing that. I don't really know. I wasn't into health or fitness or nutrition or anything. I was into drinking beers, eating pizza, getting high and drunk with my friends. Like that's honestly all I was into. So I went on that South Beach diet for that summer and I lost a bunch of weight. I lost a lot of weight. I felt great and I probably gained it back. I don't even remember what went on during that time, but years later, I ended up getting into fitness. Now we're in like my mid-20s. I recognize that I didn't love my body. I didn't hate it, but there were definitely some things I wanted to change, right? I had like chubby legs, a flat butt, blah, 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 blah. I just had an unfit body. Like I never worked out before. There was no way that I could be fit, right? So the first thing I did was I joined the gym. I joined the YMCA and I had no idea what to do. Then I started just paying attention to my food. I didn't like count calories or anything. I really didn't know anything about that. So all I did was use logic to, not eat like cheeseburgers all the time, right? I started eating salads if I went out, dressing on the side, fruits and vegetables, just eating food that everyone knows is healthy. And I did lose a good amount of weight. I started really enjoying my workouts. I was basically just walking on the treadmill a lot and using the machines at the gym, doing a little bit of free weights because I had no idea what to do, just walking a ton. So I lost weight. I started to feel good. I started to understand the effects that healthy food and exercise had on my body. Okay. Then I started to take some kickboxing classes, which just really made me honestly start to fall in love with fitness. It was just like general cardio kickboxing classes. From there, I started to teach classes because the instructors thought that I guess I was good. I had good technique or whatever you can have in a cardio kickboxing class. So I started training there. I joined another gym and got certified to be a personal trainer. So this all happened pretty quickly. And I taught my kickboxing classes a few nights a week, and then I started doing personal training at like a commercial gym, a Crunch. And that was my first training job. My goal when I started going to that gym was to actually start lifting weights. I had been doing a ton of cardio and I was honestly quite skinny at this time. Like my sisters had expressed concern. I was happy. I loved it. I was like, cool, I'm not fat anymore, so that's great. Not that I was fat, but in your own eyes, you know how it is. So I started lifting weights. I started doing deadlifts and squats and just really pushing myself with the barbell. I really, really wanted to get a juicy butt. Okay, that was my goal. All I wanted was to not have these pancakes behind me anymore that I was so unblessed with, okay? Genetically, we come from a family of pancakes. And I just was over it. I didn't want that anymore. So I started doing a lot of research, right? YouTube was my best friend for fitness back then. Started lifting. As a newbie lifter, you really start to see results pretty quickly if you're consistent, and I did, and I was obsessed. I started talking to people in the gym. I started training with a couple of older guys that were really helpful to me, and I quickly kind of became known as the woman in the gym who was in the weight section, because at this time, like, women in the gym were nowhere near as common as they are now. It's such a cool thing to see so many girls in the gym. But I was really one of the only ones that was there and like actually putting in work. And the men actually respected me and would sometimes ask me for advice or to spot them on heavy lifts. And it was so cool. When I tell you, if nothing else, if I still had those pancakes, I would have been so happy just to be like feeling like such a badass. If there's one thing that lifting weights consistently gave me, it was so much confidence. Like once you start squatting with like over 200 pounds on your back, you can't tell me shit. Like you can't tell anyone shit. Like I can do anything. I don't care. I can do it all. So let's fast forward a little bit. I start counting macros. I start tracking my protein, my carbs, my fat. I'm just shoving protein down my face at all times. I built some muscle. I was feeling okay on the outside. And on the inside, things were not going so well. So as time went on, I continued to explore different diets that people I looked up to had shared. And there was this one dumbass diet that I started following. I don't remember what it's called, but it was basically ground beef, white rice, and oranges. Okay, I think you could throw in a couple of other vegetables if you wanted, but it was ground beef, white rice, and oranges. It was fucking nasty, okay? It was so weird. My roommate was horrified. So here's about the time I had recently gotten out of a relationship and needed something to kind of push myself into feeling good again. And I found this gym in Brooklyn, Global Strongman Gym. I gotta shout them out because I absolutely love them. And I said, okay, this, I had trained strongman one time before. I had went out to another gym in Maryland to try it out, and I really loved the training. So I went out to this gym in Brooklyn, started training with strongman implements, Atlas stones, tires, yokes, like, talk about feeling like a badass. I never felt better. I really never felt better. So I signed up to compete a few weeks later. And I continued to compete for like the next year and a half, I think. Just various competitions around the area. And it was so much fun. I did pretty good. I wasn't the strongest, but I was super inspired by a lot of these women and men that I got to compete with. I had been following this ground beef oranges thing for a while, and I had actually gained a lot of weight, like probably up to 20 pounds almost. And I'm not blaming the diet for that because obviously I was eating too much. Everyone was telling me like, I'm lifting, I need to be eating more. I was like shoving food down my face that I didn't even want to be eating. So I gained a lot of weight. I definitely had some messed up hormones. I don't even know. And the biggest problem to me was that I could never go to the bathroom. From this point and years before, I would do number 2. I would take a shit. Like, I'm not kidding, like twice a month. Like, it was bad. I had to carry laxatives every time I traveled. Like, nightmare. It was terrible. Well, 2018 comes around and your girl finds herself pregnant. Unexpectedly pregnant and super sick. I was blessed with hyperemesis, however you say it. It's like what Amy Schumer had. We're just barfing all day, every day for months and months and months. Thank God that happened to me because it really reset my whole body, my whole system. And I ended up actually like losing like 40 pounds over the course of my pregnancy. At the end of like, you lose a bunch of weight when you give birth, and then through breastfeeding, I lost weight. So basically within a month after giving birth, I was about 45 pounds lighter than I was when I got pregnant. And it was the perfect reset for my body because here's where things really started to change. While I was pregnant, I started studying for a nutrition certification. I kind of picked one that seemed good, affordable, like kind of fast, and had good reviews. It's not a nutrition degree. I'm not a dietitian. The one that I chose ended up being a plant-based nutrition course. And I kind of was like, oh shit, like I don't want to learn about this vegan crap, like please. Well, I started reading the books, I started learning, I started studying, and when I tell you, like my mind was blown. I'm skeptical, so I kind of did some outside research and my mind continued to be blown. The things I learned, the things you can prevent, the things you can kind of fix through this way of eating, I didn't believe it at first. Like, really, I didn't want to drink the Kool-Aid. But I told my fiance at the time that we should probably change the way we eat, not only for ourselves, but for our daughter, and so that we knew like how to feed her in a healthy way, considering he lived on Burger King and I lived on beef and oranges. Okay, so we weren't really anyone to ask questions about nutrition. At this time, my fiance had been having a lot of issues too. He had absolutely no energy. He constantly was just like falling asleep in the middle of the day. We thought he couldn't handle gluten. Like, I was trying to figure out like what was wrong with this man, that he was always sick, always tired, never like had the energy to work out, like really just problems everywhere. So I was like, when I give birth or when I can really cook again, we're gonna make these changes. And that's exactly what we did. So after I started cooking more plant-based, I didn't go vegan, I didn't cut out meat right away. or I think even dairy. Before pregnancy, I hadn't been eating dairy for a few years, but while I was pregnant, I craved it. So it was like one of the only foods I could handle was dairy. So I was like, okay, cool. So I slowly just started cutting that out. And I never intended to completely cut anything out. I just really wanted to start adding in more plants to my diet, right? Which doesn't sound like a bad thing. If no one could say that that sounds like a bad thing. So started adding in foods I never really looked to eat. Beans, chickpeas, grains, like, you know, aside from the white rice, I wasn't really doing much grains. Starchy vegetables, you know, potatoes, hummus. Like I was just, things like tofu, like I started trying to cook. That was a whole learning curve. Maybe I'll do a video about that. But started to just add in these other foods and cook a lot more at home. And first I'll tell you what happened to my fiance. He lost 30 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm not exaggerating. He lost 30 pounds immediately. I started experiencing something that I hadn't experienced at any point that I could remember, and that was regularity. I'm sorry to keep talking about poop, but when you don't do it ever, it means so much to you when you start doing it. I started to poop every day. It was miraculous, okay? I never felt better. I had more energy. My skin was better. My hair was better. Like, I couldn't believe the way I felt. I felt amazing. I'm not over here making claims that like a plant-based diet will like heal your anxiety or like clear your skin or do anything like that, but I had come from such a drastic way of eating, like a drastically different way of eating from that. So I did experience a lot of major changes, as did he. So around St. Patrick's Day 2020 is when I had my last piece of meat. My in-laws made corned beef and cabbage. I had some corned beef, and that was the last time I ever put a piece of meat in my mouth. And that's where a problem started to arise. It became very all or nothing. I'm strict vegan. I will never eat this again. I don't even want to look at a piece of cheese, right? I started feeding my daughter when she turned 6 months solid foods. And, you know, we definitely didn't do any meat or dairy or anything like that. And she's luckily been super, super healthy. Now she's almost 5. I've recently realized that I need to loosen up the reins a bit if I want all of us to maintain this amazing level of health that we've managed to achieve. So as passionate as I am about eating a plant-based diet, I don't call myself vegan. And these days I'm looser with that term than ever, because as my daughter gets older, she's aware that the choice of what she wants to eat is hers. And it's my job to educate her about what food can do to her body or for her body and where her food comes from. So for example, we would go camping, right? And I'd go crazy trying to find vegan marshmallows. And they're of course like 10 times the price of regular marshmallows, which are like $2. And I'm like, okay, what's not vegan about marshmallows? They have gelatin in them. And I'm like, do I even know what that is? Like, do I even really know like what that is? Like, I'm just doing it because I put this arbitrary label on myself to be vegan when I never really thought I would be. So things like that I started to realize just made no sense for me. And I started loosening the reins. So the last time we went, not camping, but we rented a cabin and we were making s'mores and everything. And I came home with like the s'mores goodies. And my fiance is like, oh, did you find the vegan marshmallows? I was like, no, I got regular. And he was like, oh. And so, you know, I realized that I just have to loosen the reins. There's no reason to be so strict for me. There's no reason for me to be so strict. I deeply care about animals. I do not want to contribute to suffering in any way. However, or also, I don't want to pay $10 for a bag of marshmallows. Like, let's be real. So what I realized there was that, okay, I don't need to be this strict. I eat very healthy. I eat a very, very plant-forward diet. But if I have regular marshmallows or something with honey in it or something like that, like, it's a-okay. No one cares. The vegan police are not coming for me. My health is going to be fine. My daughter will be fine. Everything will be fine. I personally come from a very unhealthy all or nothing way of thinking background in my life. That's just always been my way. I've been very conscious of that in the past few years and aware enough to try to actively change that, because I don't always think it's healthy. I'm never going to fully let go of it, because in other areas of my life, I do find it to be healthy. I'll make another video about that. I also want to touch on the exercise thing, because when I was training for strongman and just lifting in general, I would spend like 2 hours at the gym, like at least 5 days a week, sometimes 6, and then go to like a hot yoga class. Like, I was just obsessed with working out. And of course I was using it to like avoid other things, as we all do, and blah, 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 blah. And I thought that if I didn't maintain that level of intensity or volume, that I would never be fit again, never be as fit as I was or wanted to be again. And one of the many, many lessons I've learned in parenting is flexibility. So now my workouts look like a 30-minute walk, a 30-minute workout about 5 days a week, as well as I've recently incorporated short runs 2 or 3 days a week because I now have the time. When my daughter was a baby, I did not have the time for all of that. But it's nothing major. It's not too intense. It's consistent and it's short. Like my workouts are truly never more than 40 minutes, and 40 minutes is a long one for me. I'm quite fit. I feel great. I'm lean, I'm strong. Of course, we all have goals to get better, and I do too. I want to get stronger. I want to have more muscle. I want to this or that. But I, thank God, do not have the all or nothing mentality around fitness or nutrition anymore. And the piece of advice that I want to give you, because I can't just tell you, oh, just stop having all or nothing thinking about nutrition and exercise. You're going to be like, okay, Kelly, cool, you're an idiot. Let's start with food. I want you to figure out what foods actually make your body feel good. And please try not to be extreme. No one can survive long-term on a carnivore diet, okay? No one can survive long-term on a keto diet. It's very unhealthy. Please just stop shoving that amount of saturated fat into your body. It's not good for you. So my advice is to find an in-between. Everyone can benefit from eating fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, right? Everybody can benefit from that. So let's start there. If you need some help, start there. Think about what fruit and vegetables you can eat every day. 5 servings combined of fruit and vegetables. I know everyone's main emphasis usually is on protein, and that's fine. So start with your fruit, your vegetables, your whole grains, add your protein, whatever protein you want, chicken, steak, whatever. Just have a solid foundation of really, really nutrient-dense foods, okay? That's what's gonna move the needle for you. Start there. Start by just addressing the quality of your food. Don't even worry about the quantity. I'm telling you, if you're eating high quality foods, you don't need to worry so much about the quantity, because not that it doesn't matter, but because when you eat the right things, you're satiated, you're full. When you're eating high quality foods, like I said, whole grains, legumes, proteins, whatever kind of proteins, animals or not, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, you will feel full, you will feel energized, you will not need to constantly be eating or snacking throughout the day. So if you find that you're doing that, you might need to build more substantial satiating meals. Exercise. Let's move on to exercise. If you're not exercising at all, I would recommend starting with walking. Walk every single day, as long as you can, maybe 30 minutes. I should also have mentioned that I've been a personal trainer for 10 years, so I do have a lot of background on this area. So start with walking. If you're beyond that, go to the gym, either get a personal trainer if you can afford it, or go to YouTube. That's where me and most of the people I know in the fitness world learned what we learned. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do things that probably don't make sense. And you have no reason to be embarrassed about that, because everyone has done that. If you're a woman, find another woman in the gym and start asking her questions. Just introduce yourself and say hi. I can promise you from the bottom of my heart, if some girl ever came up to me in the gym, and it's happened, asking me for advice or just introducing herself, I would be so happy, because honestly, as a seasoned gym rat and somebody who's made most of my friends in the gym, my fiance, my clients have become my friends. Like, I've lived in gyms for a long, long time. My daughter has come up being in gym. Like, we want you to feel comfortable. Anyone who goes to a gym does not want to make anyone else feel bad. So if you are really wanting to start lifting weights and strength training because it's amazing for health and longevity and our bones and our muscles, and you don't know what to do, or you're feeling a little self-conscious, my advice is bring a friend or go with a friend to their gym, have them show you the ropes a little bit, or join a class, because a lot of fitness professionals, influencers, they will tell you shouldn't go to classes, you should buy my program, right? Go to a class, because you might figure out something you like. You might learn how to do squats properly, or push-ups, or shoulder presses, or something you don't know, and then you're gonna feel a lot more confident going into the gym and doing it. When you're first starting out, you will see results super quick if you're consistent. It doesn't even matter if you're on a program or doing things you feel don't make sense. If you're moving against resistance consistently and fueling your body the right way with the right foods and not eating nothing but sugar and highly processed garbaggio all the time, you will see results. If you don't, come back to this video and send me a message and I will personally write you up a workout program for free. The point is that it is absolutely possible to be a normal, healthy person who is not obsessive. I have gone through many, many hoops and hurdles to get here, but I am so happy I'm here, especially because I'm raising a daughter and I don't want her falling into some nonsense, diety, body obsessive bullshit, honestly. I've never been obsessive about my body, thank God, and I was never raised to be. I never saw my mom criticize herself in any way, shape, or form. I saw her eat when she was hungry, stop when she was full, attempt to exercise as best as a single mom with 6 kids can. And I don't remember her exercising much, but a few times she would take out her step aerobics stuff and, you know, include my sister and I in that. And I never really thought about it. Like, I never was encouraged to eat less or weigh a certain amount or anything. And that's truly a blessing for me. And I hope to share that with my daughter as well. If you are finding yourself struggling with the information out there and how to sift through it and just wanting to improve your health and be fitter, keep it simple. Always keep it simple in life, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, whatever kind of protein you want, consistent exercise of any kind. That's it. It's very, very simple. I know this video probably jumped around a lot because I'm a rambler, but I truly am just here to help anyone make sense of this journey that they're on, because it could be a thrill ride or it could be a nightmare. You know what I mean? I don't even know what I mean. But yes, now I must go because I have to go read to my daughter's preschool class. So send me a message or leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon.